I met a gypsy.
I mean, I don't think it can be stated how important Red Bull and Monster have been for the sport, eh?
God, it's like you couldn't do without them, and they're very active. It's not only sponsorship; it's activation. People don't realize how much money is spent behind the scene.
Explain activation. Like, how would you explain that to someone that
It's
didn't understand that term?
everything that happened at a race. I'm just gonna take a supercross. When we are at Anaheim and we have a BMX demo, we have a freestyle demo. Everything is paid by Monster. So it's like
They're paying the athletes to be
they're
there.
paying everything. They're paying their riders to be doing the championship. They're paying the title sponsorship to be Supercross, Monster Supercross. And then on top of it, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars activating the pits for the fan, and they pay, Taka, Twitch, all those guys to be here. It's just, if those guys were to go away, that would be a big empty space, because they are really the support of our sport in many ways.
How much do you reckon Monster would tip in a year to Supercross?
I mean, how much money they spend? I mean, between what they give the riders, what they give the teams, what they give Feld, activation, $20 million.
A year.
A year, yeah. And I can't be that far off.
Yeah,
I mean, it's between 10 and 20. I
Yeah.
mean, it couldn't be less than 10 to $20 million a year. So, guys, keep on drinking.
Yeah, it's a staggering investment.
yeah,
It's such a huge investment
yeah.
to make.
Yes. And, with Red Bull, the straight rhythm was costing millions as well. And, it was such a good experience. And I understand at some point they want to do, Red Bull is very creative. They want to be finding new ideas and stuff. And we're working on it. We're trying to find new ideas.
How do you think the relationship between Monster and Red Bull is? Like, do they coexist in the space in the way that they should?
It went from unbelievably bad, to, because I had the opportunity.
You do both.
Yeah, I did work. I was a Monster guy, mostly 100% until Monster changed direction, and I ended up having no support for Monster. And then, Jeremy kind of like heard that and put
He was
me
like,
on.
finally.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, come on my side. And that's what happened. It was kind of organic, and at that point it was like, we can all work together, and then really, 10 years ago, Monster guy and Red Bull guys, they were on both sides of the street, and nobody was looking at across the street. And today, we all sit at the same table, talk about stuff, and we're willing to do things like it's never been done before. Like 15 years ago, 15 years ago, I was with Davey at a GP, and I with Giuseppe Longo, and I said, we need to do a motocross national, like a MXGP national, which would be the top 20.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
Give
So,
it to me.
yes, I put that on the table and I said, hey, we need to do an MXGP national. And the problem was, at the time, it was
Red Bull
and
and
Monster. And at the time, Bruce Sternstrom was the leader of Monster for motorsport. And I went to see him and say, hey, what do you think about this idea? And he said, yes, that would be, I would basically let it happen because it would be so good for the sport. And the Red Bull European guys were not as flexible, so that kind of died. And I still pray to God it could happen one time. This project is like, this is the best motocross project. Let's cross the two championship once, just for once and for all, to have all the best on the same gate, and that's, maybe it will happen one day,
Well, I mean, it's Monster and Monster now, yeah?
Yeah, now there's no political issues. Now it's Monster all over. So that, you still have a little bit of crisis maybe, but, the mentality is so different. Like, like Fox is involved, in MXGP, that's what I do on the side. and they're not involved in US. So you bring Fox in that, Fox would be in that race. But, let's get along, guys. I mean, it's like
Yeah, I fucking hate that shit.
yeah, for the good of the sport, because it's really, we cannot, we are a very, very small bubble. And in that bubble, there is a lot of people that think they're even a smaller bubble. Like, I mean, we can put a Fox head next to an Alpine Star and a TLD and a Thor, and nobody's gonna die.
No.
I mean, just be real,
Yeah.
but egos sometimes, and but it's getting better. It's getting better. Like now, there's less and less exclusive. Like
Yeah.
we don't want to protect our territory as much. Like for my involvement with Fox, I always say, hey, let's welcome everybody. Because it's good to be all at the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had 20 years of purely Parts Unlimited sponsorship. That was 20 years of closeness. I'm telling you, if Fox and Troy Lee and everybody would have been there at the same time, that would have been helping the sport.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's
one
reality.
thing. Yeah, it's one thing that always drove me crazy, especially like you remember when GoPro was the sponsor
Yeah,
of the Supercross. No one could run a different helmet cam.
yeah,
How fucking annoying is that?
yeah.
Like you've got a company, like it was Peter Adderton at the time, 360 Fly, and you've got a company that's willing to like invest, whether or not you think he's a great businessman, whatever. But it's like there's a company that's willing to pay a rider, and there's a product there. There should be some level of agency and freedom that riders and teams are given. Like the OnlyFans thing
Yeah.
is kind of I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a little bit torn there. I feel like there's probably a line where you could draw in terms of like, okay, it's associated with this. We don't necessarily want to be.
Yeah.
There's an argument
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you can make for that. But fucking Fox and Thor,
Yeah,
like you've got these two companies that want to bring money in,
Yeah.
or like Red Bull having some form of activation. Like it's just put such a cap on the growth of the sport. And the
absolutely.
problem is that Feld made them Feld made the money. So they were just like, well, we're getting the GoPro money. So if someone else doesn't get their money,
yeah,
not really a big deal. But that's just such a short-sighted
yeah.
approach that ultimately hurts the people that are in your show.
Yeah, the mentality was, pay me and I'll keep all your competition away. It's kind of like a private security mentality. It's
Yeah.
not a business mentality. And, I mean, it's getting better. I think we'll see that kind of things happening in the future, because in Europe, Giuseppe Longo just broke that, say, screw it. We'll have everybody there. There is one exclusive. It's a title sponsor.
Yeah.
That's it. After that, everybody is welcome. And I agree. Title sponsor. It's like you can't put Monster and Red Bull on the same banner.
Yeah. But there should be flexibility for Red Bull to do some projects.
Yeah.
Like a great example of this is Red Bull Motorspy
Yeah.
and at Monster Energy Supercross. So that is an example where there was something
exactly. Because we have the chance
allowed.
to have progressive people like Jeremy, and it's hey, that's the way it goes. But you go 10 years back and you put somebody that's less progressive, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So once again, people are the key.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.